The NASCAR Cup Series now moves into the round of 8, where we'll take those 8 drivers through these 3 races and we'll shrink it down to our championship 4. The round of 12 went exactly like I thought it would. I had every driver to get eliminated correct, and that was for about 2 hours until Joey Logano gets back in because Alex Bowman gets disqualified. So for those 2 hours, I will take credit for having the entire round correct with drivers that advanced and drivers that didn't. We're going to take 8 drivers. We're going to shrink it down to 4. I have 2 drivers to win their way into the championship 4 and 2 drivers to point their way into the championship 4, and then of course the last 4 to be eliminated. We have 3 tables, 1 for each track. We have the drivers on the left, the average finishes on the right, and then we have the drivers that have won at these racetracks with the next gen car highlighted in that light blue as you see in the left columns. We have the points as they enter, and then as they exit I'll kind of talk about the points and stage points and stuff that I think these drivers are going to get. Now we can't account for everything. We can't account for crashes, we can't account for bad pit stops, we can't account for penalties, but for the most part, most of this stuff is going to be off average finishes, laps led, stage points, and stuff like that. So let's dive into it. Let's see who I think is going to make the championship 4. And we'll start with the first 2 drivers that I think that are going to win their way into the championship 4. And this might come as a shock, and let me give my reasoning. But the first 2 drivers that I have are Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney. Now hold on. Don't click off the video. Don't leave hate comments. I know, Denny Hamlin, we hate him. But how poetic would it be if Denny Hamlin, in a year where he's sticking it to NASCAR with his lawsuit, can go in and make the championship 4 and have the chance to compete for a championship? I just think that that would be poetic. I know NASCAR is going to do everything in their power to make sure that Hamlin and Reddick do not make it into the championship 4, but I think Denny Hamlin gets a win at Homestead, where he has been strong the past 2 years, and the average finish doesn't really help him here. Now he has 18.5, but that's because last year, if you remember, late in the race while he was running inside the top 5, his car broke and he ends up DNFing. In 2022, he had a strong run until his car faded late, but I really think Miami is the place that Denny Hamlin gets his win and wins his way into the next round, into the final 4. I really think this is the year. He hasn't made it yet with the next gen car. He hasn't made it since 2021, so I think he gets back to the championship 4. I don't think he wins just like every other year, but I think he has a strong shot this year. I actually think Ryan Blaney repeats at Martinsville and wins his way into the championship 4. So that leaves, he's got the best average finish at Martinsville with a 4 flat, and his teammate Logano has a 4.2. So Penske really knows what they're doing at Martinsville, especially with the next gen car. So I think Ryan Blaney really is a strong choice to go back-to-back at Martinsville and win his way into the championship 4. Now, if we look at Las Vegas, I didn't pick any playoff drivers to win at that track, and that's because I'm a simple man. I like to see things continue. I like streaks to continue, and I like drivers to go out on top. I really would like to see Martin Truex Jr. or Kyle Busch win at Las Vegas. Kyle Busch's hometown is Las Vegas, and Martin Truex Jr. has one of the best average finishes with the next gen car at this track without a win. So I really think one of those 2 drivers can finally get it done this year. So those are the 2 drivers that I'm predicting for Vegas, but I think a non-playoff driver wins Las Vegas. Now let's take a look at 2 drivers that I like to be eliminated. 2 drivers that I like to be eliminated are, I know this might come as a shock to some, but Joey Logano and Chase Elliott. And here's the reason why. I mean, let's talk about Joey Logano. He shouldn't be here in the first place. I know the 48 car and the weight and the disqualification and all that, but realistically, yes, Joey Logano was given second life. They haven't shown the speed on mile and a halfs yet this year. I know he had that lucky win at Nashville where he survived 5 overtimes and everybody else ran out of gas. And then he won at Atlanta in a lucky finish because a late caution came out for a banner that fell on the track. Other than that, Joey Logano has shown no speed all year. Yes, he has an average finish of 4.2 at Martinsville. I'm sorry, I'm not on the hype train. Everybody says, oh, it's an even number year, he's going to make it. Not this year. I'm telling you right now, he will not be in the championship 4. He will not score enough points. He will not have the speed to compete with the rest of these drivers. Right now as it runs, I think he's 15th or 16th in the point standings without the playoffs in just the regular point standings. So, do with that as you will. For the longest time, I've been on the Chase Elliott train to get him into the championship 4 and to just see him win again, but he just hasn't. He hasn't won since his win at Texas hasn't necessarily been that close outside of, a couple here and there type races. But so I just don't think Chase Elliott's going to make it. It was a fun year for Elliott fans because last year they didn't make the playoffs and they didn't, there wasn't a win. But when you look at his average finishes at Miami, at Las Vegas, Martinsville is the best one with an average finish at 10th. Realistically, I don't see the speed there on these 1.5-mile tracks, especially Vegas and Homestead. It's not there, and I don't think it's going to happen. So Elliott, another driver that I don't think is going to make it. And I don't think he'll be last, but that's just how I had the points make out with him getting stage points in these races. The first driver that I like to make it on points, and this is a no-brainer, and this is Kyle Larson. Now, when we think about Kyle Larson, I mean, he is the best driver this year. You might say Tyler Reddick because he won the regular season championship, but Kyle Larson missed the Coca-Cola 600. If he starts that race, he wins the regular season championship. So Kyle Larson is the most dominant driver this year. He's probably going to win the championship this year, but we'll have to see how stuff pans out. But he has a win at Las Vegas in the spring. He has a win at Las Vegas last fall. He has a win at Miami back in 2022. And he has a win at Martinsville back in 2023 last year. So he's won at all these racetracks in the next-gen car. I don't see him winning in this round, but I definitely see him getting a top 3 in almost every race and stage points, and he's just gonna breeze through like nothing. I mean, he can get enough stage points with his cushion, and I mean, he can have a lousy Martinsville race, but he's gonna go out and dominate the first 2.5 miles as usual, so it's just not gonna matter. Martinsville can be a throwaway, unless some crazy stuff happens and you get guys that are 8th and the points start winning, but for the most part, I think Kyle Larson's safe. So we have 3 different organizations now, 3 different manufacturers. We have a Toyota, we have a Ford, and then we have our Chevy. So let's look at a driver that we're going to eliminate, and then we'll do the last 2, the driver that will make it and the driver that won't. Regular season champ curse is going to continue into this year, and here's why. Although NASCAR is going to try to do everything in their power to make sure Hamlin and Reddick don't win this championship, I don't think they get through to Hamlin. I think they get through to Tyler Reddick. If we look at his average finishes, he has a strong one at Las Vegas with a 7.6. He was close there in the spring. He finished 2nd. I expect him to be strong there again. This is a track that really helps his driving style. So does Homestead Miami. But in the next-gen car, he has a 19th place average finish. I don't know what's going on, but this is a track where he won 2 Xfinity Series championships with, and he just hasn't figured out with the next-gen car. I just don't see it. With Hamlin and Blaney winning, it would take Tyler Reddick to also win, and I don't think he's going to win any of these races versus the guys that I'm picking. And then when we go to Martinsville, 21.6, the worst average finish there. So just having basically almost the worst average finish at 2 out of 3 racetracks is enough for me to eliminate him. I just don't think he scores enough stage points. I'm saying there's going to be another regular season champ that doesn't make the championship for this year. It happened to Truex last year. I think it's going to happen to Tyler Reddick this year. Now let's look at the last 2 drivers that I like to advance, or the one driver that I like to advance and the one driver that I like to be eliminated, and that is, I'm going to make this a little bit more visible, but that is William Byron to make it, the second Hendrick driver to make it, and Christopher Bell to get eliminated. And listen to my reasoning, and then we'll kind of touch up the video, and then I'll send you on your way. William Byron has a win at 2 out of the 3 racetracks in this round. Martinsville twice, and then Las Vegas once. Best average finish at Las Vegas, and a good average finish at Martinsville with 9. Even his average finish at Homestead is 8. He had a chance to win there last year. Christopher Bell would end up winning that race because Byron fell off at the end of that race. So I think that all these racetracks suit him. He has wins at them. I don't expect him to win at them, but I think that him and Larson are the 2 best drivers for the rest of these racetracks, that they can just survive, get their top 3, get their top 5, win a stage, finish top 5 in the stages, and not have problems, and they can get it done. And I think they're going to be the 2 Hendrick drivers to get in, and then, we'll have Blaney, and then we'll have Hamlin. So we'll have 3 manufacturers, but we'll have 2 cars from one organization, Hendrick Motorsports. With Christopher Bell, it's pretty simply put. Poor average finish at Martinsville, 15.8, even though he has a win there, but it was more so of a walk-off, take tires at the end type deal in 2022. I mean, Denny Hamlin dominated that race and should have won it. But then, like Miami, he has the best average finish, and then Las Vegas, he finished 2nd there last year to Kyle Larson, if you remember, but he has a 16.8 average finish. So I think even with a strong Miami run, if he only scores 35 points in each race, or 30 points in each race, which is what I'm predicting, I just don't see it being enough that he'll make it. I think it'll come down to 3 points. I think it's going to be very tight at the cut line. I think we're going to see another tight cut line. I don't think we're going to see any walk-off wins. I think what we have here is pretty straightforward. I think we're going to have the defending champion. We're going to have a driver who wants to stick it to NASCAR. We're going to have the world's best driver, most talented driver in Kyle Larson, and then the second best driver at that organization in William Byron looking for his first championship, because he does deserve a championship. At the beginning of this year, he won the Daytona 500. He won at COTA, he won at Martinsville. He was strong, kind of fell off, but now I think they're kind of getting their rhythm back. So those are the 4 drivers that I like to advance into the championship for, and the 4 drivers that I like to be eliminated. So let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you agree or disagree, I would love to chat with you guys in the comments about, who we think's going to make it and not. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.